was a little kid, I always wanted to look out my window and be surprised that there was a supercar magically in my driveway, and somehow, some way, that has become a reality. Now, I don't own this, and it didn't happen exactly the way I hoped it to happen, but now that I'm an auto journalist, sometimes there is just a bright green McLaren 750S in my driveway, and today we are going to take it out and live with it a little bit. We're going to go get some ice cream, drive some fun roads, and talk about what it means to have a supercar in 2026, because supercars have changed quite a lot over the years, but this 750S, I think, represents the last of a breed. It feels the most raw, the most in tune, and it's probably one of the most extreme looking cars on the road. Now, the McLaren 750S has a lot of great pub stats, meaning you can sit at a bar with your friends, drink a beer, and tell them about all the things this can do. You can tell them about its 4-liter flat plane crank twin-turbo V8, making 740 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque, all powering the rear wheels. You can tell them it has a top speed of 206 miles an hour. And you can tell them it'll do 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. All of these things are wonderful, but the reality is it is very difficult to actually use all of this car, even some of this car, on the road. And this is where the McLaren is special, because even at relatively low speeds, even just driving it around town, it feels wonderful. You don't feel like you're being neutered. It just feels like you're driving something incredible that is driver focused, unlike almost anything on the road. So let's open these monster dihedral doors. Yes. Oh God, I love that. And start it up, and we'll go out maybe for an ice cream. Oh, it's warm in here today. Oh, let's let that warm up for a quick second. You can listen to this from the back. Just spitting up all the condensation in that exhaust. Don't worry, we'll get that nice and hot. Oh my God. So, there's no manual options on these supercars anymore, but what this does have is this wonderful 7-speed dual clutch transmission that you can see down here. Oh, it's so good. What's also incredible about the 750S and the 720S as well is that they have this incredibly trick hydraulic suspension system. There's no sway bars. There's not even a limited slip differential in this car, which seems bonkers, but they absolutely know how to make do with the braking system and the hydraulic system to keep this thing completely flat and always putting down power. It never feels sketchy. And oh no, a bird has found our McLaren. So let me go wipe that off, and then we'll go take a little ride. We got some good sexy shots of this thing sitting here at the loading dock, and now let's just get on the road and drive it. And it's so funny, you'll hear all kinds of crazy noises. Just like rattles this. Even when you're sitting idling, sometimes this mirror is just vibrating because there's just so much going on, which is wild because this is not the extreme thing that McLaren makes. No, they make a 765 LT and now a 788, which is in limited production, so almost don't count that, but it is an engineering miracle. Yes, it does have soft closed doors, and that's always nice to have in a car like this. Everything's driver oriented. We can put it into drive right down here. Got our paddle shifters right there. Roll off that parking brake. Some rocks. Be gentle here. It kicks everything up. That's one of the things about sticky tires, man. Gentle over the tracks. And we can send it. You can see the huge air brake coming up. If I see anybody crest a hill, I have to assume It's local authorities. I am not blending into the world right now. No one will think, oh, what did I hear? What did I see? No. They're gonna know. You do need to be cautious. Can make that. Nose lift up for the train tracks. It said unavailable for a second. I don't know why. Maybe we were going a little too fast when I hit the button, but either way, we can clear it with or without. It was superfluous use. Anyway, one of the coolest things about this car is this engine. It doesn't use a V10, it doesn't use a V12, and when the MP4-12C came out, that was a little bit of a point of contention. Are you really going to make your supercar with a V8 and turbos? That was actually a little different at the time. And this engine was not born in England. This is a Japanese-born engine. Although McLaren will say about 41% of its parts are different, this came from Nissan. This is a Nissan-derived engine because it's hard not to do this. We're going to stay way back here. People cut this corner. No thank you to any issues here. Nissan in 1987 was going to go racing at Le Mans in Group C. So they built this essentially 3-liter twin-turbo 90-degree V8, and it never really worked. It got bored out, it did all kinds of different things, and it just never... Ooh, septic truck? No, that's not a smiley face. That is the meanest smiley face you can have. If that unloads, we have a very big explanation to Natalie at McLaren about what happened in this car. So over years and years, Nissan's trying to make this engine work, and it never quite works the way they want it to work. They're never getting success with this platform. Well, when McLaren decides they're going to go after an MP4-12C car, they need an engine. Now remember, they never used their own engine before anyway, because they were using BMW for the V12 in the McLaren F1. I cannot believe we're having this conversation behind a septic truck. Really? Hear that, VQ? Okay, that's related to this engine. So McLaren goes in there like, we need a platform. They essentially buy the IP from Nissan to use this block and this technology, and that's how they ended up creating this twin-turbo V8 with the flat plane crank and building this just incredible thing that can go on street and on track seamlessly. I mean, granted, they had some quality issues along the way, but look at us now! Now it's just electrical stuff. But I have to say, in the last 10 or 15 years, I've started to appreciate McLaren more and more as the proper supercar in the group, because I loved the Huracan. I loved the Aventador. They changed a lot. I think Performante was the perfect Huracan. I think Aventador SVJ was just the absolute peak. And now we're in Revuelto and Temerario territory, and they do need to, they need to grow on me a little bit. They're incredibly fast, but they're almost too easy to drive, and they're hybrids, and I'm so thrilled that Revuelto maintained a V12 and that you have 10,000 RPMs to play with in the Temerario, but there is something about this car that still feels more locked down and connected than any of the typical players, the legacy players in this game. I love the visibility. Come on, man. A mid-engine car that you can see this much out of is just better than my Honda. I'm such a grandma driving around town in my Lexus or my Honda, even my Porsche. When I get into this, I don't necessarily speed, but I like to get up to speed quickly. It is so entertaining. One of the best things that they retained about these cars is the paddle shifters, because unlike most supercars, they are wheel mounted, but it is one solid piece that goes across the back of the steering wheel. So that means that these are not independent. They rock back and forth about this point in the center of the steering wheel, which means that I can actually downshift from the upshift paddle by pushing it or pulling it, pushing it or pulling it, and you can play this thing like an instrument because it shifts so quickly. It's incredible the ride quality you get out of this thing. I mean, we're in comfort mode. Hopefully I don't flick a rocket in my face. Oh my goodness, this thing. Oh. I would have to use the blur tool non-stop if we were really exploring what this can do out here. And it's a press car, so it's not like an owner just said, hey, go do 190, actually 206 miles an hour, which I would not do on a public road, just to be clear. But this thing is wildly capable. And if you're looking for the daily driver supercar that you can take to the office once in a while, that's easy to drive, really, really fast, gets all the attention, but also the rally car for those special weekends away with a big group of supercars, or a track day. Because this shines in all of those categories. There's really nothing this car doesn't do really well other than hold my bike. So Will Long, in the comments, if you're asking, does this pass the bike test? It clearly does not. But it passes the fun test. And I really, oddly love hitting the brakes in this car because of the wing. Because I watched that big air brake go up, and it happened so fast. The way that I used to like playing with toy cars when I was a little boy is the way I like playing with this car. That's a unique thing. I'm in my late 30s, man. I review cars for a living. I get to play with everything. Sometimes I get a little jaded, and sometimes I get used to things. I never get used to this car. This car always feels special. It's always delivering something to me like I'm a little boy, like I'm a child, and it's just trying to wow me and appeal to me and make me smile. This is the peekaboo of supercars. Because I'm like a little boy, I am gonna come down here and get an ice cream. And let's hope these people don't ding our doors. Ever the entrance. And look at this. We can get this open next to the Suburban, the Tahoe, whatever this is, Tahoe. And we're good. All right, let's go get some ice cream. Oh, that's so delicious. West End Creamery, impressive place. I've driven past this place 1,000 times and have never once stopped. I'm really glad I did it. And that's the thing. Sometimes you need a sense of occasion, a reason to go somewhere. And the McLaren is giving me that. And I do this the wrong way every time, because here's the thing. In Porsche land, when you want to release the handbrake, the parking brake, you pull as if you were pulling on the release of like a Chevy Tahoe or something. Whereas in this car, you push it to release it, and it's just a little counterintuitive. So now let's gently pull out of here and hope we don't run into any trouble. Looking good. You back into track powertrain. List of things that never get old. That might be top 3. Oh. I would love it if they shut this little road down as a hill climb someday. It will never happen. You can't go fast here, although it is beautiful. But this is Purgatory Chasm. I think I've taken you here before in another video, but it's this crazy glacial forest of rocks and cavernous things, and there's like a dead man's squeeze that you walk through, and people do actually die here. Not regularly, but not irregularly. More than you'd think. It's a great place to bring your kids, but you need to watch them. And it's better if you have your kids to be on the low part of it than the high part of it, because there's no guardrails. This is not the Grand Canyon. There's really no signs that say, hey, don't walk here. You gotta look. I can already hear the European brains going, oh my God, upshift. It's like, that isn't the point. The point is sonorous sensations and the vibration in your back. And actually, these seats are pretty comfy. They have the carbon back to them, but they're very nicely adjustable, although the buttons are a calamity of insanity at the bottom down here, and I really just never really know what I'm feeling. I would implore McLaren to probably improve that ergonomics, because every time I go to change my seat, I do something wrong. Maybe that's on me, but you know what? I'm allowed to say it. Otherwise, yes. The Senna seats I've definitely hit my head on before. I got a black eye on a Senna seat one time because the little halo thing that comes around your head, I dropped something and I leaned down to get it and I just bonked myself. It was terrible. Car I've driven that's kind of blown my brains apart like this recently was the Corvette ZR1, which is a heck of a lot less expensive. I think that car was $180,000 or $200,000, where this is $406,000 as spec'd. And it is so wild to see the differences between two V8 twin turbo cars that make different amounts of power for sure. And the Corvette's a bit heavier, so it doesn't have the tiny, nimble little race car feel like this does. But the way this puts power down is so much more old school. And I guess maybe that's a testament to the fact that this engine was developed sort of in the 80s. The way the Corvette engine comes on, it feels NA, but like it just gets faster as it goes. Whereas this car, it's kind of waiting, hits. And I like both characters, but they are so extremely different, and it's really fun to be able to compare cars like this back to back. Bite off the corner, enjoy a little bit of lateral G's, and shut her down before we go a little too crazy with these numbers. Oh, there's so much grip. I love how approachable this car is too, because you can pretty much put anybody with a little bit of car control in this behind the wheel, and it's self-limiting. You wouldn't go full throttle if it scared you. Like, you just wouldn't do it. And there are other cars that I think you might bite off a little too much. The difference too between this and, say, maybe the Huracan, back when the 720 and the Huracan might have been having a conversation financially with your wallet, the Huracan started to feel slow after a while. And I know that's like an insane thing to say, but the reality is that V10 is naturally aspirated. It's one of the best characterful, juicy engines there is, but it doesn't have a ton of torque that really rockets you out. And I think when cars like this came out, when McLaren started coming out with this 570S and the 600LT and the 720S and now the 750S, this engine showed people like, wow, I mean, this is some serious speed before tuning it. Because a lot of McLaren owners go and get an essentially off-the-shelf tune from a bunch of different tuners, and now they're making like 1,000 horsepower. Your 600LT could be making 900 horsepower, shooting 3-foot flames out of the exhaust. Avoid that. And it is really fascinating what can be done with this engine. And the last thing I think when I get in this car is, oh, you know what it needs is some more power. But when I drive those Huracans back then, it made sense that people were putting VF superchargers on them. I thought, yeah, I probably could use another 200 horsepower and see where this goes. I know this is a goofy thing to talk about, but it has cruise control. That's awesome. I'll tell you what, everyone gets in supercars, and when they don't have certain things, you forgive them because you say, well, that's not the point. It's a supercar. It's meant for drivers. Except when you go on a road rally, you're going to track day that's really far away, and you got to sit on the highway for a while. You got to sit on the highway for 2, 3, 4 hours. You're trying not to get speeding tickets. You're trying to limit yourself, and you're trying to keep your ankle and your heel feeling rested and good. Man, is it nice to have cruise control. And the reason I say this is because the LFA, I know this is not a cross-shopping discussion, but I've done so many miles in that car and it doesn't have cruise control, and I never thought I would care until I did those rallies, and I thought, you know, this really, really would be a better car if it had a cruise control setup. And you'd think Lexus, of all car companies, would be the one that had it. They don't. So anyway, just have to give credit where it's due. Thank you, McLaren, for putting a proper cruise control system in here with an easy-to-use stock. The forbidden 2-1 downshift. What to get me for Christmas, it's that. I just love it. Will they move? They won't, because it's Massachusetts. Actually, it's just a long row of out-of-staters. Oh, but led by a Massachusetts left lane hog. Effortless torque. Left lane hogs are a thing of your past. If they leave the slightest gap, you're through. Well, all right, a reasonable gap. We need to protect the paint and things, but oh my goodness. What else should we do? That was my plan. Shoot. Maybe I want a lobster roll. Maybe we go to George's. The wing. La da 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 da. Guys, I'm having the best day. And what's wild is this is actually how I think I would want my 750S. I really love these seats. I really, really love this color. And I know green can be a little overdone and we're getting so caught up in the PTS of it all, or the MSO of it all if we're talking British supercars. But it is so cool to have a bright green supercar, a Skittle, and like something just that's ridiculous. And that, I think, is the essence of a supercar. I've started to see more and more people get like white Aventadors or black Revueltos or things like that. Like, no. These cars, they need to be purple, they need to be green, they need to be orange, they need to be bright. I'm not a huge fan of yellow, but I respect it. But this color, I love it. I don't think anyone can fault it. It's so good. So once again, thank Natalie from McLaren. Natalie's the PR rep. She fought for this color. I want there to be more press cars with colors like this. And so do me a favor and say thank you, Natalie, in the comments, and like this video so it gets lots of views so she can keep giving me cars, because I really want more cars. Because Natalie is the reason this is green. Natalie is the reason it got this color, because this is a step above MSO. This was an expensive option and they did not have to do this on a press car. I love the sound of this. Whenever we get a picture in here, this might look good in here. Oh, that's a big hole. Holy cow. Holy cow is right. Okay, let's do this. This looks closed. Maybe we shove the car right here and see if we can get a photo. Because I think this would look kind of cool. I feel like I need more separation. I parked too close to this building. This might be something. Is this something? Let's give it a shot. Yes. All right, don't fall in the hole. That's the shot. I think that's it. I think that's what I wanted. All right, maybe there's something there to work with. Either way, those are just for fun. I don't know anybody, any work. That's the fun thing when you have a car like this. Like, it inspires you. You're like, oh, I might stop. I might go check this out. Oh my God! Did you hear that? Of course you did. Of course you did. let's put the arrow down so I don't look so criminal. Welcome to George's Surf and Turf. All right, I kind of want a lobster roll. Oh, it's always good to get a lobster roll. Again, things I would not have done today had I been in any other car. I don't usually come here. I just drive by these places. And then when you're in a car that's kind of special, you're like, maybe we should use it. Maybe we should go places, experience something new. Finally doing that correctly. My big complaint, I like that you have the top-down 360 and that rear view camera. The only thing is that if you turn the wheel, you block that view. So I kind of wish that one was down here. It would make it a little easier. A pleasure. It's loud when you want it to be loud. It's pretty tame and reasonable when you're just cruising around. It's such a good thing, and like the turbos add such theater to it all because you can hear them whooshing and building boost and releasing air. Well, I took myself on a little solo date. But I wasn't alone because I was with the McLaren, and I like the McLaren. It's a really nice little companion. So, let's see. Nice and safe through here. Pretty good. Anyway, that is what it is like to live with your dream supercar, or my dream supercar, one of my dream supercars, and I still do it every damn time wrong. Ugh! Someday I'll get it. I think I would have to own one to get that correct. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. This has been a really fun, and I'm glad you came along with me. I know that this isn't a realistic review because most people are not going to go out and buy one of these because they are quite limiting price-wise. I hope the key's in my pocket. Yep, okie doke. Oh, I left the nose lift up. Poor form. I'll put that down after the video. But that gives you an idea of the ground clearance. And I'm going to go to the gym pretty soon anyway, so we'll take this back out again. But I hope this gives you a little bit of an idea of what it might be like to live with your dream supercar. Something to aspire to, but you don't have to. And the nice thing about McLarens is there are lesser McLarens than the 750S. You can probably find a nicely depreciated 570 with some miles on it, and they do just fine as long as you're willing to stomach some maintenance costs. These are really fun. So any of these cars with a carbon monocoque chassis, a twin turbo V8, you're gonna have a good time. So anyway, we'll end this on an embarrassing note with the nose lift up. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.